It's 5:46, so it's going to be confession time very shortly. Don't forget, there is a new Confessions podcast, which lands with you every Friday. It's already considered to be the #1 podcast in the UK.
Okay.
And all territories.
All territories.
Across the Commonwealth. That's what they're saying. That's what they're telling me. I just find out this stuff. Anyway, drinks trolley time. What have we got, Suze?
I've gone for a Welsh cider today. It's called Happy Days, 4.5%, and it's from Gwynter Draig Brewery, which is a very lovely one.
Very good. How strong?
4.5%.
4.5. Okay, that's fine.
Crazy.
Just a little half then for Matt to consume.
Yes. Sunshine in a glass.
Sunshine in a glass. Very nice. Today's confession comes from, let's call him Jason.
Okay.
Father Simon and the Forgiving Collective. My confession dates back 20 years to a time before my wife and I had our beloved children, and thus a time when we shared a much healthier bank balance. It was at this time that we had both saved up our pennies and been able to afford our first real fancy holiday. We'd been away for 2 lovely weeks to the place they named twice, New York, New York. We had just returned back to London, Heathrow. It was the wee small hours of around 3 a.m. in the morning, as 3 a.m. is usually in the morning. And we were making our way towards passport control. This was the year following 9/11 and procedures had been tightened up. Accordingly, all took a long time. When getting off the plane, my wife and I had both desperately needed to use the loo. We'd spotted the signs and headed off to our respective toilets. Mine, being the men's, meant that I was in and out in around 60 seconds. Fast and efficient, I walked over and found the ladies and stood outside waiting for my wife. After quite a few minutes, she still hadn't appeared. So remember, this is around 3 a.m. in the morning and I was very tired. I put 2 and 2 together. I figured out that she must have already come out the toilet before me, gone on through passport control. In my tired state, I must have missed her. She would be on the other side of the gates having a nice sit down, relaxing in the reception lounge. So I headed on through. Once reaching the other side, though, she was nowhere to be found. This was surprising. Feeling tired, I sat down. I figured out that she'd be along in a minute, but she did not appear. I began to get worried. We were at Heathrow, very far from home and in a big, scary alien environment. I waited and I worried. After close to 15 minutes, I finally spotted my wife running over to me. Upset, she'd obviously been crying. Very concerned, I went to her to comfort and find out where she'd been and what was the matter. It turned out that there'd been a rather large queue in the female toilets. This, along with the fact that 2 cubicles were out of order, meant a particularly long wait. Whilst I had gone through passport control, she had still been waiting in the toilet queue. And unbeknownst to me, I had gone through with both my passport and her passport in my hand luggage. My wife had been left alone on the wrong side of the airport gate. No passport, no ticket, no evidence or confirmation of whom she actually was. She'd been refused entry to her country. She stood there crying, explaining that she was born, bred, and had, in fact, only ever lived in Britain. She asked politely if she could come in.
Does that work?
Please and please. This is around 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay. She was tired, sleep deprived from jet lag, and very much struggling to keep it together. Incredibly, or rather worryingly, when you think about it, my wife, with no passport or documentation of any kind, was let in.
Wow.
Despite post-9/11 and all the increased global safety and security protocols that it had brought with it, my wife had been let back into the country. She was let in because she had cried to the people at passport control. Over the last 20 years, we have retold this tale many times, always to shocked looks and shaking of heads. But this time, I have a little extra part to add at the end, a part that my wife has yet to hear.
Oh.
What?
Father Simon the Collective, I'm here to confess, and confess I must. During that long flight back to Heathrow, my dear, wonderful, kind, loving wife had been getting on my nerves a little. The truth is that I got on through passport control fully aware that she hadn't come out of the toilets. I can see the frowns of disapproval forming on Holly and Susie's faces as I write this. But I was tired and grouchy and needed a bit of me time.
Right.
Time.
So I'd left her and strode on through. The guilt of seeing my wife's tear-covered face 15 minutes later meant that I quickly felt the full pang of karmic revenge, though. And it is with this in mind that I throw myself on the mercy of the collective to ask your forgiveness. Well, good luck with that, pal. I'm not quite sure how that's going to go down. I mean, the first part was bad. You know, I mean, you could have weighted. What are the chances of a woman coming out of the loos first? 0, I'd have thought. Because that's the way they're engineered. But as in the loos, I mean, as opposed to women.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Well done.
Unnecessary.
I hadn't even thought of that.
No. Sister Susie.
I can't believe this.
He did it on purpose.
Me time. Well, exactly. I think this is what it comes down to, is you knew she hadn't come out of the toilet and you knew that you had her passport. So how did you expect her? It makes me really cross. You've just left her there because you needed some me time because she was annoying you a little bit. I know flights can be stressful, but leaving, if I were her, I'd make sure she had passports from going from now on. And poor woman had to plead to come back into the country. No, firm not forgiven from me.
I thought that's probably the way it would go, Brother Matthew.
I mean, who's going to be able to forgive on that? I mean, I'm going to forgive. I'll forgive because
lead the way. Go on, lead the way.
Because you've got to be in control of your passport, haven't you? You should be in control. You shouldn't leave it to someone else to carry your passport for you. And particularly if you've managed to get on the wrong side of that person during a very long flight. Let's not forget that. And also, it was early in the morning. I mean, who's to remember whether you're carrying the bag? Well, he knew. But anyway, but I'm just going to forgive because, they've had a bad flight. And he's sorry now, isn't he? And he's guilt-ridden. So for all those reasons, let's forgive. We've all done... Well, I've never done it. But, it's... I'm sure he now knows he was wrong. But wow. Yeah.
You don't sound convinced by your own argument.
No, not really.
I suspect very few people will be.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the people's verdict, please, for Jason with his passport confession, deliberately leaving his wife on the other side of passport control. People's verdict, please, 61054. The text, first word is Simon. And just before the news, a confession. We said it was from Jason. He and his wife coming back from New York. They landed in London Heathrow Airport. He strides through. I mean, they both went to the loo. He then goes through passport control. He doesn't. He's the original version. He doesn't realise he has his wife's passport with him. Thinks that she's still in the loo, but actually reveals exclusively in this confession that he knew that all the time. He'd been slightly annoyed with his wife, and so did it to make her suffer.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that we're not going to get a lot of forgiveness here.
You'd imagine right. No forgiveness. Wendy says definitely not forgiven. They hadn't even made it to baggage reclaim. That's where most of the rows are. Sarah from Devon says absolutely not forgiven. It's men like Jason with their me time and their self-centered attitude. They're exactly why I'm divorced.
Right.
And finally, Shelley in York says, and the award for worst husband of the year goes to
Jason, and not his real name. But anyway, I suspect he knew exactly what was coming his way when he sent in the confession. Send yours, please, to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. Okay, I think I'm in need of a stiff drink before we proceed to the dodgy areas of today's confession. What are you taking from the trolley today, Suze?
Well, I've gone for I think Matt will like this, elderflower gin fizz.
Oh.
So, and I would use mermaid gin from the Isle of Wight distillery, which is very delicious, nice and smooth. Gin, elderflower cordial, a little bit of lemon juice, top it up with soda water, lots of ice.
Thank you. I just checked the BBFC ratings, and I think I'm okay to say it's a 15.
It's really a 15 tonight?
I think so.
Wow. Okay.
I think so. But I shall read it in a PG style.
Of course you will. Yeah.
Or even a U certificate style.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
And everyone else can fill in the blanks. Today's confession comes from Gloria. Thank you, Gloria. Simon and the Confessional Collective. Not sure this is a good idea. About 10 years ago, I mean, this opening sentence is asking for trouble.
Right.
About 10 years ago, I decided to spice up the evening by surprising my then husband.
Okay.
So whilst he was in the shower, I made the now ridiculous decision to get ready for when he came out of the shower.
Oh, understood. Yep.
I put something fishnetty on, which didn't leave much to the imagination.
Wow.
Now, to put some more context to this, my ex and I, although obviously he's not the ex at the time of this confession.
Not at the time.
Yeah.
My ex and I were no strangers to a bit of the hot and spicy Pringles variety of bedtime.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Can I express it like that?
Yeah, let's do it like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Pringles. Yeah.
I placed all our paraphernalia on the bed
My goodness.
My goodness.
and lit the candles.
Oh, lit the candles.
Yes,
fine.
that's what it was.
That's what it was.
It's like
Lit candles.
candelabras.
Good. Yeah.
Candelabras, box
Yeah.
of
That's what I
matches.
thought it was.
Have to be careful with the matches and the candelabras.
Pringles. Yeah.
The wax.
And the Pringles, yes, absolutely. You can put the candle on the Pringle tube.
Yeah. That
I
is
think that's
very
what they do.
practical. Yeah.
Followed by putting on a blindfold and then handcuffing myself to the metal rings which were screwed to our airing cupboard door.
What?
Wow. Okay.
Like a...
Herring cupboard.
Like a... it's Father Simon, it's like a game of hide and seek. Except really I wasn't hiding very well. Or maybe a fancy dress party. We've all had fun with dressing up, haven't we? At the dressing up basket, that's what it's there for. Well, it was just like that. Until it wasn't. The shower stopped. I smiled and laughed at the thought of my ex's reaction to this wonderful surprise.
Yeah.
What a wife. Knock at the bedroom door. Ooh. I say the fateful words. Come in, my love.
Yes.
What I didn't expect was my eldest daughter's voice,
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
who was 11 at the time, saying, Mum, what are you doing?
Oh dear.
Father Simon, I was almost sick right there on my fancy dress outfit. Not that it was built for that kind of thing. I don't think you could put this in the washing machine.
No. Oh dear.
Seeing your mum strung up looking like a combination of a hanging carcass and a throwback from Eurotrash is not how anyone should see their mum when they're 11.
No.
Have to explain to Holly what Eurotrash is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit later. I managed to somehow scream, "Get out, get out." My eldest made a swift exit, saying as she left, I just wondered if we could watch TV downstairs. The we in this situation was not just my daughter at the door, but her friend who was over for a sleepover.
Oh.
I managed to say,
Both of them.
yes, you can go and watch television downstairs. Quicker than Houdini in his prime, I was off the door and hiding under the duvet. My ex came out of the bedroom, pulled back the duvet. I was in a curled up position, and his words were simply, "What have you done?"
Oh, I say.
He doesn't
He's
talk
very
like that.
saucy.
And I don't think Gloria actually speaks like, "Come in, my love."
Yeah.
Safe to say my daughter hasn't needed specialist help over this incident, but if ever the words "come in, my love" are muttered, she does go a slight shade of green. Can't imagine why you'd ever say that ever again, to be perfectly honest.
No.
This incident is well known in my family and can be a great source of hilarity. For me, I die a little more inside every time it's mentioned. That's why I sent it to you.
Yes, of course.
Well, I think we got away with that.
Yeah,
I
we
think
did.
There
It
was
was fine.
enough misdirection.
Yeah.
It's all about crisps,
Yeah.
spicy crisps, and a candelabra.
Yeah.
Amazing what
Yeah.
the entertainment can be. Sister Susie, what do you say?
Oh dear, Gloria. I do feel for you here. I do, there are certain things a child should never witness, and that is one of them.
Yes, a candle in the bedroom. Why would you have?
I know.
Why would you have candles in the bedroom? It's
Yeah.
a
Candles
shocker.
in the bedroom, your mum in a fishnetty thing. I'm not surprised you were sick straight away, or at least almost sick. Why can't you schedule these things in with your husband or ex-husband?
Your daughter
now?
has a sleepover. She's
Exactly,
going to have a
that's not the
friend
time to do
downstairs. She
it.
wants to watch television.
Just do it when you're on your own. I don't know. I just think that I feel like I should forgive you just because it was embarrassing enough, but I do feel for your daughter, and therefore no forgiveness from me.
Yes, your daughter has a friend round.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Not the
yes.
time.
Yes.
Brother Matthew.
It could have probably been put on at a more appropriate time, maybe. But
What, the fishnetty thing?
Yeah, all of the paraphernalia. But the emotions, the passions, they were all aroused, weren't
Were they?
they? So
Yes.
and you can't control that. Why was she shackled to the airing cupboard? That didn't make any sense. The airing cupboard.
It's a reenactment
on
of some
the
kind.
floor. And everyone was getting on famously, and getting out the Pringles as well. Good work. So no, I'm going to forgive because I'm pretty sure everyone was fine with it in the end, and it thankfully didn't lead to any chain reactions, as I believe Diana Ross would probably put it. Yes, well done.
61054 for the
Definitely
people's
forgiven.
verdict. Today's confession came from Gloria and involved candles, Pringles, an airing cupboard, fishnetty thing,
Yep.
and an 11-year-old daughter. I think that's all I need to say,
Yes.
really. The people's verdict, here we go.
So Faye in Woking says, you have to forgive Gloria. I would be horrified if that happened to me. This is why you schedule these moments in the calendar. Ed says, forgiven. I thought for a moment it was going to be a random neighbour at the door who'd been attracted by some pampas grass. Accidents do happen. And Kath says, totally forgiven. We were once disturbed by our 9-year-old whilst enjoying hot and spicy Pringles on a Saturday morning. She asked if she could have...
like for breakfast?
In the
Wow.
morning, yeah.
Yes.
She asked if she could have a yogurt. We thought we'd got away with it, but she revealed last year that she knew exactly what was going on. She's now 23 and has not required counselling. Love the show.
Just be careful where you have hot and spicy Pringles.
Quite right.
It's definitely
Yes.
the thing. Okay, if you have a confession for us, send it to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. New podcast on Friday. It's not a 15-rated confession, by the way, today. It's more of a... I mean, there's a PG element to it, but it's basically for all the family.
Oh, it's all fine.
All for all the family. A quick snifter from the drinks trolley. What do you have, Suze?
I have a very delicious strawberry lime pineapple ice lolly sour. So basically, a twister in a beer.
In a beer?
Yeah,
Okay.
6% as well.
All right, okay, be careful. I think
Yeah.
safer to have a twister whilst I'm doing the show.
Of course.
Today's confession comes from Camille. Merci bien, Camille. Dear Simon and the Confessional Collective, this confession is about me, my family, and a chicken.
Oh.
Based in rural France in the 1970s, back when I was a 5-year-old girl. I've been listening to confessions for a few decades now, since I moved to England with my English husband. One of the earliest I remember is the infamous goat confession.
Oh, yes.
So I very much appreciate those confessions that involve accents. They're my favourite. Hopefully this one will as well.
Oh.
I lived with my parents, older sister and brother in a small village near Nantes, where my father worked in the shipbuilding industry. My mother stayed at home looking after us, 3 children. Cooking meals that we could all eat was often problematic, and she could not abide fussy eaters. She was a very good cook, though to her dismay, she had to present her succulent duck dishes as strong chicken, and rabbit was explained as misshapen chicken,
Right.
to persuade us to eat a wider range of food. The village had a hairdresser, and for reasons I cannot provide, there were chickens and chicken coops in the window. Anyway, my sister went for a haircut one day, and she was presented with a small chick, a living one, I should add, in a box. She was absolutely delighted, as were the rest of us. We named the little chick Pew Pew, as in P-I-O-U, twice. She quickly became a favourite family pet, and us children had lots of fun petting her and feeding her leftover spaghetti bolognese, which she was crazy about. My parents were fond of the chick as well. She used to nestle on my mother's feet while she was cooking, catching the odd morsel of dropped food. When my aunt came to visit, who was a keen gardener, Pew Pew used to follow her around on the off chance she'd grab a trowel and start turning the earth, exposing lovely worms and grubs.
Oh, lovely.
We went on summer holiday for a month, pretty standard summer holidays for us. After all, this was France. And a temporary home was found for the chicken at a nearby farm. At this point, you're probably thinking of the classic story all parents tell to placate their children about sending a beloved pet to live out a long and happy life on the farm. But it was actually a farm. It was a proper farm, and Pew Pew was actually happy there. So happy, in fact, that when the holiday ended and it was time for Pew Pew to come home, Monsieur Guillenot, the farmer in whose pen Pew Pew was living, telephoned my mother, Genevieve. They decided amongst themselves that it was best for the chick to remain with its own kind rather than believing it was a human. Time passed. A lot of time passed. Beaucoup de temps s'est écoulé. 25 years later, we're having a family lunch at my parents' house in Paris, where where we now lived. My English husband-to-be, then boyfriend, was also with us all. Ma mère, Genevieve, had cooked a lovely coq au vin, and conversation turned to chicken-related subjects, specifically to our charming Pew Pew all those years ago. My boyfriend struggled to believe that a sophisticated and urbane Parisienne like myself had once lived in the countryside and owned a chick called Pew Pew. Whatever happened to Pew Pew anyway, asked my father. My mother's response was immediate, succinct and eloquent. I made him into a nice coq au vin. You don't remember? C'était délicieux.
Oh.
Conversation stopped. My father went a shade of pale grey. After a bombardment of questions, we extracted the following explanation from my poor mother. It turned out that Pew Pew was in fact a boy, not a girl, as we all believed. He spent some time very much enjoying the company of the numerous affectionate hens in the chicken run. However, as he got older, he got increasingly territorial and aggressive, to the point where Monsieur G, the farmer, could no longer enter the chicken run without being savagely pecked by an angry ball of squawking feathers.
Oh dear.
Monsieur G, having reached his breaking point, phoned my mother to tell her that Pew Pew had crowed his last cocorico, cock-a-doodle-doo à la française, and his plucked carcass was ready for the pot. Since it was originally our chicken, would we like him back? My mother, ever practical and needing to feed a hungry family, readily agreed and made the now infamous coq au vin. The cat's got the giblets. She failed to mention the source of the chicken at the time, understandably so, due to wanting to avoid any refusals to eat our pet. I asked forgiveness not from Pew Pew. He had a good and happy, if short life. He also provided us with a lovely meal. Nor my late father, who was initially shocked to have heard about this secret after 25 years. He quickly got over it with the memory of the thoroughly enjoyable meal. I asked forgiveness from both Monsieur Guillaumeau and my mother, Genevieve. Monsieur G, who had to endure a certain amount of bullying from a chicken that wasn't even his, but more so from my late mother, who was forced to this level of subterfuge in order to avoid us fussy eaters in my family, refusing to eat perfectly good food. My siblings and I all still eat and enjoy chicken, and even duck, and even rabbit.
Even rabbit?
Even rabbit, yes.
Wow.
Just call it strong chicken.
Yes.
If you have
it is.
fussy eaters in your house. Okay, I suppose it's the circle of life. Anyway, let's see what Sister Suze makes of Camille's confession.
Well, I'm shook really, because the idea of eating a pet, I know that it happens, but it just is a bit, I feel sorry. You think this chicken lived a lovely life and on the farm and, over the rainbow and all of that stuff. And I just think, your mother did what she had to do, I guess, but it was quite deceptive. And but I am lucky I don't have fussy eaters in my life. They generally eat what I feed them, so that's good, but I can't forgive.
No,
I'm afraid. Foul play.
I know which foul play indeed.
Oh, very good.
Matt, I think I know where you're
yes,
going.
I'm going to forgive. I'm with the mum on this one. What do you expect? If all you lot are going to eat is chicken, and we have a chicken here, what do you think is going to happen to that chicken when it becomes a little bit annoying and is pecking everyone? I'm going to stick it in the oven and mix it with some coq au vin, and and you're all going to love it.
Well, it is the cock in the van.
Indeed, it is. Quite right. When did we start giving away chicken in boxes when we went to get our haircut? I've never had that.
It's
I
a
don't
French
remember it in France either. It's a very Gallic thing. I'm going to forgive, because I didn't hear much of a hello style accent, unfortunately. But that said, definitely forgive.
Is the people's verdict, please, for Camille? 61054. Just before the news, we had a confession from Camille, a young French girl at the time, her pet chick, Pew Pew, a family meal, a coq au vin, and a secret that was kept for 25 years. Here's today's people's verdict. Here we go.
So Tom in Chester says, forgiven, she was a fussy eater and her mum was right to use the chicken for a nice meal. Gail, though, says, not forgiven. I understand sending the chicken off to the farm, but getting it back and using it in a meal? The whole family had grown fond of the chicken. I'm surprised they were upset. But John says, forgiven. The farmer didn't need to give the family the chicken back. He could have sold it for a paltry amount.
Oh, I see. Very good. I can see why you read that one out. Okay, so thank you for the verdicts. Thank you for your confession. Send yours, please, to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. Okay, first of all, we need to wash it down with something. What have you selected? Even though you're here in the studio, from your bar, what have you selected?
From my bar, I've selected a very lovely 0.5% lager called Tomorrow. It's from Wiper and True. It's very lovely. You wouldn't know that it's alcohol-free, and it's definitely one for delicious. And obviously, you can enjoy tomorrow because you won't have a hangover.
That's right.
See?
Okay, that's what you need. And you can drink that during the show.
Yeah.
Okay, what's it called again?
Tomorrow.
Okay, thank
from
you.
Wiper and True.
Today's confession comes from a chaplain by the name of Reverend Ellie. Thank you, Reverend Ellie. Simon and the hopefully very forgiving collective. I am a hospital chaplain and also lead some funeral services from time to time. I have many stories of things not going completely right, such as last year when I inadvertently leant on the button and closed the curtain around the coffin only halfway through the service without even realising. I only noticed when I came to press the button, capital T, capital B, to close the curtain, turning to look respectfully across at the deceased as I pronounced the words of committal, finding they'd already been closed. At this point, I did what the funeral director later described as a double take, like something off Scooby-Doo. But I confessed to the puzzled family afterwards, and all was well. Now, the day that plays over in my mind was an occasion when I had arrived straight from hospital duties at the rural crematorium up the hill, needing to change into my suit. So I gathered up the clothes hanger from the back seat of my car, containing my navy suit, a blue top, and a scarf, which was my usual attire for a non-religious service, and trotted towards the toilets to get changed, offering a cheery wave and a hello to the staff as I passed. When I came to get changed, it was trousers, check, shoes, yep, all good, jacket, yep. Oh, where's my navy top? Oh, had I dropped it somewhere? I glanced at my watch. There wasn't time to go back to the car to check. I thought I'll just put the jacket on over my sturdy M&S bra and wrap the scarf around my neck, stylishly arranging it into the gap where another layer of clothing should definitely be. That should do it, I think. I looked at my handiwork in the mirror and felt sure that no one would know that their celebrant was a little bit underdressed.
Okay.
Why are you looking puzzled?
No, I'm wondering where this is going.
Well, that is as long as those 3 suit buttons stay fastened. Otherwise, this could be memorable for all the wrong reasons. Think Judy Finnegan at the BAFTAs.
Remember that?
Remember that?
Which I had forgotten until the Reverend Ellie reminded. But that's all the image that we need. The time was running on, so I exited the toilets and headed for the chapel. Very cautiously. One of the crematorium staff started chatting to me about the music and the live stream. Oh no, live stream? The stakes are higher than I thought. I very slowly turned to answer him like a person balancing a basket of fruit on their head, clearly afraid of any jacket malfunction.
Yeah.
You okay, he asked. Have you hurt your back? You wearing a brace or something? No, all good, I responded whilst glancing nervously down at my jacket buttons. Still managing a cheerful but rather stilted smile, I then glided to the door, still balancing that fruit on my head, to welcome the family without any hugging or sudden movements. In fact, no hugging was my text for the day. Well, Simon, the service began, and to my huge relief, the buttons held firm, and no one in the congregation noticed anything amiss. However, I did deliver a rather static service without any animation, without any arm gestures.
No, don't do that.
I wouldn't normally start a Mexican wave or anything, but I do like to tell a story with my hands. One hand here and the other hand there.
Yeah.
I didn't even walk over to the coffin to pronounce the final blessing. I just stayed fused to the spot like a showroom dummy or one of the guys in craftwork behind the keyboard. I tried not to keep glancing down to check that all was well, but all was well. At the end of the service, I pivoted cautiously, paused in respect by the coffin, but no bow, or that would have been the end of everything, and proceeded at full but very steady speed towards the exit, clutching my service notes to my chest, and ran to the car, throwing myself in, at which point, I can tell you, everything kind of escaped.
Oh, wow.
But only once I was in the car, so that was fine. So listen, Father Simon and everybody else, I'm sorry for being last minute and disorganised and taking a risk that could have gone badly wrong, but especially I'm sorry for delivering a rather lackluster service for this family, unlike I like to think my normal style, where I wave my arms around. Yeah. I now triple check everything before I set off. Thank goodness for that scarf, but folk like to hug, especially at funerals. Probably Matt doesn't like to hug.
No.
But people do like to hug at funerals, and this day it was just not possible. Health, safety, and decency.
Decency.
You have to remember these three things. In my defence, I've led lots of funerals where it goes very well and I'm fully clothed and don't...
Oh, good.
And I also don't press the button too soon, just for the benefit of balance. Mm-hmm. But you would imagine, I would imagine that anyone, like a hospital chaplain, anyone who takes funerals got so many stories of things like that. But here's a story that I hadn't thought of, because she'd missed her top, but because of her sturdy bra and also a scarf that filled the gap, everything was fine. I think Sister Susie's going to be quite reasonable here.
Well, yeah, it's an awkward position to be in, really, isn't it? You've got no time to get another outfit, and it's just, I think she did her very best, and she didn't expose herself in front of the middle of the funeral, which is what the whole thing is about.
That would have been unnecessary.
It would have been unnecessary, but I just feel like I probably shouldn't forgive, because maybe the deceased person deserved better and could have had a bit more animation in her delivery, but just for the fact that she didn't expose herself, I'm going to forgive her.
I think that's pretty reasonable. My guess is that Matt will probably forgive also.
Yes, I'm going to forgive, although I can't be alone in thinking it would have, maybe spiced up the funeral a bit if... things are...
The funeral doesn't need spicing up.
Does it not? I mean, it's, makes it memorable, doesn't it? And I'm sure that's what they would have wanted, is what I would have said if I'd been at that funeral. And everything, it all came together, using the Bible to stop hugging. That's a great idea. I'll be using that in the future.
I don't think the Bible came into it.
She used the Bible. Stop people hugging me, I've got a Bible. That's what she was saying. Yes, and that and the scarf. So well done to everyone. And it didn't come apart till she got in the car. Excellent news. So definitely forgive me.
Matt clearly hears other things that no one else hears. People's verdict, please, 61054. First word is Simon. The people's forgiveness, the people's verdict. But just before the 6 o'clock news, a confession from Reverend Ellie, who led a no-hug funeral due to a missing top, which meant she put her faith in the Almighty and her sturdy M&S bra, they both supplied all the support and comfort that was necessary at the time. No idea. No. Okay, people's verdict.
Everyone's forgiving tonight. Rob says, poor lady, being in charge of a funeral must be a stressful job, and her plan of the jacket and scarf was genius. Well done, I say. Brenda, also forgiving. We once went to a dinner dance, and my hubby's trousers went as he got dressed. I had to sew his fly up so he could go out. And Kevin in Wiltshire says, forgiven. I like to put the fun in funeral, but that could have gone very wrong. On the plus side, though, she didn't push anyone into the grave with the coffin in it, so that's good.
Yes, that's a previous confession,
yes, indeed.
Isn't it? From a vicar who'd taken against one of the villagers.
Yes, and decided to push her into the grave.
Difficult.
A little harsh.
And then changed absolutely everything in her funeral service to the things that she didn't
really
like.
Nice, yes.
Anyway, maybe you have a confession for us. Please send it to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk.